Hello, everyone, and welcome again to another episode of Liberal White Dudes. I am Andrew.
I'm Jared.
I'm AJ.
And we are Liberal White Dudes. Normally on this program, we would be, we'd have AOC in our Zoom room, and we'd be waiting on her, to throw her into the mix.
At any point, yeah.
Yeah, she decided to run a show opposite ours. I think she is angry for us constantly not getting to her. And
that's probably what it is.
This is done out of spite. Yeah. I watched the first half hour before our show, and it was mostly consisted of her having technical difficulties.
That's the way that it usually goes from my personal experience with her live streaming.
So we're not having that, and we're just going to get on with our show over here on this network.
Yeah.
Network.
Yeah. I like sticking it to our allies right when we go live.
Who doesn't?
So a little more, couple more videos came out. Green Margarine, who I've been saying is from Florida. Nobody's correcting me, so you guys should learn some stuff too. But she is from Georgia. She is a Georgian congresswoman.
I didn't really catch that you had said Florida.
Yeah,
I didn't either.
Well, for all of our viewers who've memorized that she's from Florida.
She's not.
She's not. No, she's from Georgia. Another video of her came out, which apparently has been out before. I just haven't seen it circulating. Basically, it's her chasing a couple members of the squad around Congress to get them to swear on a Bible instead of the Quran. It's the same thing like, I'm not even sure they're actually sworn in at this point. And it's like, I'm sure you're not. I mean,
I just cannot believe this person holds office.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen some whoppers hold office. Sarah Palin. Okay, we've seen some whoppers hold office where you're just kind of like scratching your head.
But she was like governor of Alaska, so that's kind of fine.
And also, we're sorry to Whoppers. It makes more sense. We're sorry to the candy brand Whoppers for associating you with people that are terrible in office.
But I just cannot believe. Honestly, cannot believe that she holds office.
Yeah,
it's insane to me.
It does not track for who the kind of people that I grew up in a town that could have produced her.
Sure,
she never would have been elected to student government.
No, certainly not. Yeah, the other thing too, stuff is circulating. Like there was a video of her. And she's got like a mask on. It says censored on it. I was like, wow.
While she's on TV talking into a microphone.
Yeah.
Censored.
Yeah. I mean, lots of Republicans right now are going on Fox News and going on, right-wing radio and going on the internet and going to news publications and talking about how all of their voices are being silenced.
While they're on Twitter.
On
major networks.
Do not understand the irony of that. Lisa Kudrow, actually, for the Year in Review thing on Netflix for Year in Review 2020, does a really good she lists out, she's like, right-wing voices are being censored. I just said that on Fox News, and then I said it on Newsmax, and then I said it on, there's like clips of her just saying, right-wing voices are being silenced on all of these major platforms. So, yeah.
Amazing.
There's another video of her that came out where she uses the R word, and then sort of softens it in the same way that you soften something racist by saying, I mean, I don't mean to be racist, but, she softens it in that way. Like, what? I don't mean to be, crappy to so-and-so, but, and then they're crappy, you know what I mean? It's like that kind of softening. Like, it's like, that doesn't make it better, what you just said.
What you just said is still what you just said. It doesn't change.
Yeah. And she really just kind of comes back and doubles down on it. So, hopefully, we're in the process of removing her. I asked the question to Twitter today about what the process was for seating people in committee, because I know we've gotten some news about that, and I really don't know what the process is. But the ethics committee for the House has not been picked or seated, or they're not doing anything. It seems like their smokestacks will be going right now. There's a lot to do for that particular committee, it seems like. So
I would agree.
I don't know what the process is there. I hope that somebody gets going on it.
Yeah, let's get that stuff rolling.
Another quick little thing in the news, and by little thing, I mean there's a huge thing about this, and it's really starting to gain some steam as the whole GameStop stock
Right.
Along with, sort of AMC and Nokia and a couple others by association. That particular story is not over. I know we touched about it a little bit on the last show. And if you had bought in on the last show and you had dumped yesterday, you might have made yourself a lot of money. I am not a financial advisor. I do not provide financial advice. But basically what we were seeing was a classic pump and dump. It was, you've seen The Wolf of Wall Street. You know what that guy did. It's basically you buy a stock. You convince a ton of other people to buy that stock. It drives up the price, and then you sell yours. There's nothing new or particularly crazy about this, except that it's being framed as regular investors. So people on Reddit, which I would argue are not regular investors. I think that the Reddit community is a specific portion of, the community. I'm not saying what portion of our society that overlaps with, but it's not regular folks. You know what I mean? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong out there, YouTube commenters who I feel like do overlap a lot with Reddit folks. But so basically, the other side of that is, and I'm going to explain just a little bit about what a short is, because it is a key component of this entire mess. But a short is when you borrow stock from the company. So let's say a stock's at $10, you borrow it, and you short it at 7. Okay. So you borrowed at 10, you short it at 7. So later, if the price goes down to 7, you can sell it back at 10 and you make that $3 in between. Okay. So lots and lots and lots of firms bet against stocks and then either try and drive them down by putting out bad news about them, or, or exposing what they've already learned about them. Like you find out that a company is cheating, in some way, you short it and then you release that news, and then it just does what it does, right? There were companies, hedge funds, which had, and I'm not going to explain what a hedge fund is. You can read up on that if you want to.
Well, Anna Kendrick has a great explanation of it.
Yes, on our Twitter feed. Check it out.
On our Twitter feed, actually. Check it out if you don't know
dudes. Because that is a fantastic explanation, even less wordy than mine, but
really dumbs it down.
But hedge funds had huge shorts on GameStop, and basically your losses on a so in the scenario I gave, $10 stock goes down to 7, you sell it, and you get that $3 difference. Whereas if the stock goes up, at some point you have to cover it, meaning you've borrowed a share of stock, you have to sell it back to the brokerage and cover your short. So the more it goes up, the more the difference is there. So if it goes up to $20 from $10, you owe the difference between 7 and 20, $13. Or in the case of GameStop, if it was at $3 and it goes up to $300, you now owe 100 times whatever it was your bet was, plus some, whatever the difference was between what the price was and what you shorted it at. So the hedge fund that was most exposed to this, and they were exposed for 150% of the float, which again, you can Google what that means later. This is not a finance show, but they ended up being bailed out by a couple other hedge funds. They gave them like $2.3 billion or whatever, and they're going to be fine. And a bunch of Redditors are standing over this screaming, yeah, David versus Goliath, and we've done a great thing here. And it's like, no, you haven't. I hate to be the one to break the news, but you haven't really done anything. Yeah, they had to move some money around, but I'll bet you there are way more Redditors who bet their stimulus check or bet their rent money or, bet money that they didn't have to spend on your word and then lost their shirt today. We'll see. I know there's going to be more chapters to this that come out, but that's my prediction. My prediction is we're going to hear about a lot of regular folks who didn't have the money to spend who spent it in a very dumb way. And some folks got rich. The random Redditor. The random Redditor. Well, and even some folks on the other side of this got rich,
Yeah. And there are folks that I know that I'm 2 degrees away from that made $10,000 off of this thing. So it's not, I don't know. It's pretty nuts.
Yeah.
Well, I did a couple scratchers a couple days ago and did not win, but it felt exhilarating at the time.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole thing with a pump and dump is that there's going to be the pump and then there's going to be the dump, and you have to get out ahead of it. And in this particular case, multiple brokerages stopped you from being able to buy more on each of those. Yeah, each of those symbols. And I sort of, run the calculus on why that might be. I haven't really seen a good explanation, but I feel like if the hedge fund goes bankrupt, so they don't buy the shares that they borrowed, is the brokers stuck with them? And so when you sell at 300, is the brokerage now sitting there going, they have to cover the difference between the short and the guy, and so they go bankrupt? Were they trying to take out Robinhood in this case? I don't think so.
Yeah.
So, trust me, the billionaires are going to be fine. You probably drummed up some regulation on regular folks trading stocks at this point. But I am not a financial advisor, and I do not give financial advice. And I don't own any of those stocks that I talked about. Just FYI, not long or short in any of those.
And none of them are contributors to this show.
In any way.
No, not to my knowledge.
It seems like we know.
But we know.
Yeah, we're still in talks with the Fig Newton folks.
Yes, now that's one, but that's different.
But we're still in talks. So
we're not currently pumping Fig Newton stocks.
I know you're all gonna buy whoever it is, the parent company that makes Fig Newtons,
obviously,
once we announce that sponsorship. But they're not currently.
Yeah,
not currently.
Right. I'm gonna buy some of that tonight, probably.
All right, and maybe check and let us know who the parent company of who makes Fig Newtons. I don't even know.
Nabisco, I imagine.
Yeah, but who owns Nabisco? Like, what's the final?
What's the updraft of that?
Let me look it up now.
All right, our big topic for tonight is friggin' Star Wars. We are going to dive into the minutia of the politics of the Trade Federation.
Instead,
why do they try and poison gas Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon Jinn?
We are #not always politics. I do consider Star Wars to be a social issue in the respect that if you don't like it, if you can't even tell me like one nice thing about the Star Wars universe, we're not friends.
It's a social issue.
You can unfollow us on Twitch. Notice I mentioned the one place we're not active.
Yeah, we're not.
That's the only place where we're going to encourage anyone to unfollow us for joke purposes.
You can subscribe to us here on YouTube, angrily.
Really give us the business.
Really stick it to us.
Give us the business.
The first way I'd like to start out is by talking a little bit about what order you would rank the films, each of you, in order from your favorite to least favorite. We'll stay away from Clone Wars or anything animated. These are just the full-length feature films. So I'm going to start with Jared.
Ooh, I get to go first. I like 5 and 6 a lot, like probably equally. I probably
go ahead and give our listeners the title, even though yes, if they're listening to this, they should know that's The Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, sorry, Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. I might go A New Hope, Empire, Return of the Jedi, and then I liked the new ones way more than I liked the prequels. I don't know if that's a hot take. Yeah. I don't know if that's a hot take to give out.
It's probably a common take.
Probably a common take.
Most people hate the new ones, but they also
detest. Let's not influence his opinion. That's why I make him go
first. You're right.
Like,
sorry.
Force. Yeah, that's a good point. And
he goes first, so we can tell him why he's
Force
wrong.
Awakens. Yeah, right. Force Awakens. Because that's the 9th one, right? Is that the name? I don't even remember. And then Rise of Skywalker. Then The Last Jedi, Revenge of the Sith, Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones. That's probably my top down.
You missed.
Oh, I missed Rogue One and Solo, didn't I?
Yes.
Both of those.
Where would you stuff those bad boys?
I mean, I guess I put Solo like above Phantom Menace, but like that's probably where it goes. I probably watch Revenge of the Sith again first, which is weird. And then Rogue One, I guess that's somewhere near. That's probably above. I mean, that's above.
It's in my top 5.
Newest, yeah, that's above the newest.
Stop influencing.
Yeah, right.
I wasn't. He was the one who list.
Yeah, it's underneath the. Yeah, that one's underneath the original 3, but above the new 3.
AJ.
Yeah, mine I always know. top 5 goes for 5, episode 7, Force Awakens. I think that was probably my 5th favorite. Number 4, going to be episode 6, Return of the Jedi. Number 3, I go Rogue One, Star Wars story. Number 2, episode 4, New Hope. And my favorite film, of course, would be Empire Strikes Back. Beyond that, it's just garbage. It's like a mangled list. It almost doesn't matter where they all fall. But if I had to go for any, after that, it would go probably Solo, and then Last Jedi, Revenge of the Sith. Revenge of the Sith, Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and then worst by far is Rise of Skywalker.
Wow.
Hot takes.
I have heard
Hot
that.
takes.
I have heard some people who feel that way. Rotten Tomatoes does not feel that way. I'll give you their list after I give you mine. But I am sort of a traditionalist, and I think it's part of because of how I was raised, like before you guys.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm a New Hope, Empire, Return as my top 3. Then Rogue One. I do think it was, other than the original trilogy movies, my favorite of the remaining movies.
Yeah, it was really good.
To talk about. Then I do the new ones in order. So Force Awakens, Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker. And then reverse order. No, not even reverse order for those ones.
Jumbled order, right?
Yeah, and I go Solo before I'd watch any of the prequels.
Yeah.
And then Revenge of the Sith, Phantom Menace, and Clone Wars. If I was on a plane and Clone Wars was playing and the headsets were free, I would read a book.
Yeah.
And
Attack of the Clones, right?
Yeah. I would do a crossword or something. Rather than
find some other way to occupy myself.
Yeah, I would find some way to block the screen just because I would hear, because I've seen it now enough times that I would hear the lines in my head, the way that he delivers them, and still just go, oof.
Yeah, but you'd see Anakin and Padme rolling around in a field, and you'd be like, "What the hell was this movie again?" I forgot.
Why is the CG so bad right there? Like, it doesn't make any sense. You've got basically all of the money in the world.
Yeah, I'm like, why does The Fifth Element look way better than this movie?
Yeah, as a good example. There's Saturday morning cartoons that got it more right.
Looks way better.
I mean, the Dark Crystal looks better than that, and the Dark Crystal doesn't look great.
Robot Chicken looks better than that. They could have done stop motion with the figures, and it would have been
better Seth Green. Sorry.
Yeah, that movie's atrocious. I mean, it
really
pains me. Not just because it's a bad movie, and not just because the writing's bad, and not just because Hayden Christenson's bad, but also because it's a Star Wars movie. Because I love Star Wars so much. I'm just like, this should be better. Do better.
I agree.
So I am glad they did not stop making Star Wars movies after Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
So Rotten Tomatoes has it this way. They have at 94% Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
They have
sounds right.
Tied at 92% The Force Awakens and Star Wars A New Hope.
Okay.
So that's kind of
I wouldn't put those on the same level. That is weird, but
they're very similar movies.
It's kind of. I mean, The Force Awakens was kind of like a remake.
Yeah,
really
the one that borrows should probably be
before.
less than the one that was the first one of
Agreed.
That saga. At 90%, they have The Last Jedi.
Okay.
So that's a thing.
Yeah.
Slipping down to 82% for Return of the Jedi. I feel like there's a lot of Ewok hate in there. Every time I read criticisms of Return of the Jedi, they're like, Ewoks suck. And I was just like,
man, do they hate that? Yeah. They're like, that is like their Jar Jar.
I grew up
goofy.
with the Ewok movies. For those that haven't seen those, I loved those. I watched those over and over again. So, maybe I'm biased. I mean, they would fall somewhere above the prequels. What, Ewoks, The Battle for Endor?
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
That's somewhere above
that
the
was
prequels
very
for me.
Up on Rotten Tomatoes, but that's very surprising to me. I didn't think we'd see any of the prequels higher than the original trilogy. That's kind of ridiculous.
They are not. No.
Sequels,
there's some of the some of the
sorry, I mean the sequels. The sequels, I mean, rather the sequel. I can't imagine, like, seeing Force Awakens at 92 is a little strange, and then seeing Last Jedi be rated higher than Return of the Jedi is kind of blasphemous.
Yeah, and Rogue One is actually 84, so Rogue One is above Return of the Jedi. And then next up, Revenge of the Sith at 80%. So we're still very fresh and starting to slide into not so fresh territory with Solo, a Star Wars story at 69. Then Attack of the Clones at 65. So,
oh my God. You're telling me there are movies rated low?
They're saying Attack of the Clones is better than both The Phantom Menace and The Rise of Skywalker. Rise of Skywalker actually brings up the rear, so you agree with them. That is at 51%. So basically split down the middle as to whether or not that was a...
Are you going by critic score or audience score here?
Going by whatever Wikipedia says. If people are one of my sources.
This is going to be the tomato meter as a critic score, but yeah. Yeah, I mean, as I said, I think that Rise of Skywalker sits at the end, even as bad as the prequels are, and I really hate them. But I do think Rise of Skywalker still sits supremely at the bottom.
Yeah, and I may need to watch it again. I can't.
If you can.
Yeah, I can't imagine it being worse than the Phantom Menace or worse than Attack of Clones. And now part of it for me, of course, Phantom Menace. Would that have been good if it wasn't Star Wars and I didn't have high hopes and all that kind of thing? No.
Yeah, I think Expectations does that to movies in a great way.
Well, Jake Lloyd was hard to get past, in my view, regardless of what the film was or who it is. As an actor, I'm sorry. My apologies. Jake Lloyd's trash, man. Like, he's terrible. And so he was awful casting, as was kind of true throughout the prequel. Just very bad casting in general. For the most part, there were some bright spots, but Jake Lloyd ruined it. Doesn't matter who was in that movie.
Shout out to Ewan and McGregor.
Yeah, yeah, he's great.
Awesome. Love that guy.
Yeah, the first poster that I saw for Phantom Menace was, Jake Lloyd in the foreground, shadow of Darth Vader. I was
super dope.
Yeah, excited.
Sold.
I was like, this is gonna be awesome, And then it was like really bright and really cartoony and a lot of bleep, 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 bleep. And it's like, what is this? This is not, it has none of the grit, none of the feel, none of the, realism of the first three. We are several years removed from that where it should be better. We're looking at blurby, huts again. What is this?
Well, to be fair,
and no romance, no romance.
To the credit of Star Wars in general, is that the thing about Attack of the Clones, and I think the reason that people prop it up as much as they do, is because it's the CG in that movie in terms of like the clone troopers. Like there are like some scenes that I've seen because I had conversations with friends about this sort of thing and how those movies were terrible, and they were like, "No, they're good." I'm like, and they sent me a clip of this. It was like clone troopers basically flying into like this sort of fight, and it did look sick. I will, to its credit, that's like the full CGI fights.
There's some moments.
Sure, yeah. But I'm just like in terms of their use of CG and stuff, Star Wars has kind of always been on the forefront of the sci-fi.
They were for a while,
and they were for a while. Yeah, they were for a while anyway. Right, like the whole. I mean, the original trilogy with their use of laser guns and their lightsabers, those were sick. Like, I mean,
the original trilogy is a marvel. It's incredible. I mean, groundbreaking.
It's just nuts.
Not to be confused with films that are actually Marvel, like Iron Man,
which are separate.
Thor, those are
right. But thinking about a kid,
they're all owned by Disney.
Sitting in a theater in 1977 watching this and just being like, "Holy shit! When did they go to space to shoot this?"
Yeah,
because I remember seeing a similar film franchise had an effect on me, Jurassic Park.
Yes,
and I remember being a small boy in watching Jurassic Park in the theater and thinking, where did they find these dinosaurs? How can I go see them also? Clearly they're real.
Yeah.
I was like, this is unbelievable. And so
question.
The original trilogy
is a documentary.
Yeah.
To me.
Exactly.
Yeah, the realism there.
Yeah. Just a small town boy. So do you have a different order that you would tell people to watch them in than the order that you like them in?
Yeah, certainly if they're looking to get more
They've never seen them before. That's the presumption.
If someone's never seen them before, I actually agree with watching them in release order.
Yeah.
I'm not huge sold on these big kind of epic trilogies like this, Lord of the Rings and stuff. I don't really dig watching them in chronological order based on the story. It jumbles it for me. It's kind of weird. For me, it'd be very strange to watch the first 3 terrible Star Wars movies and being like, especially if no one had ever seen it.
And I have more to watch.
Yeah.
This is a slog.
So I have
6 more movies at least.
I have personal experience with this. My dad befriended a Mennonite gentleman.
Okay.
Who eventually left his Mennonite religion and started, watching movies and stuff. Yeah, exactly. And so they had a conversation one day, and he learned he had never seen Star Wars. So he decided to watch them chronologically. He was the first person he'd ever met in his life that he was able to introduce the series to.
And
he's also a big fan. And man, did he do it wrong. Yeah. Because I'm like, Dad, you can't show this poor bastard Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones.
Yeah.
and then be like, I'm not watching anymore.
Yeah, I would tap out halfway through Attack of the Clones. I'd be like, this is terrible. Like, what? Who?
I want to see these
You're saying
movies.
Everybody in America loves this? That it's actually worldwide, well-known, billion-dollar franchise? Because this is garbage.
This is lamb sauce, dude.
I'd rather watch Jupiter Ascending. Any other shitty sci-fi flick you got hanging around.
Have you seen the Maze Runner series? That's better than this.
So I don't think I would ever recommend anybody to do that or watch a movie before anything else. I say just watch them in the order they were released.
Jared,
it gives you the most perspective. I think the reason that the reason ultimately that you end up doing that, not just for the sake of watching the better movies first, but also because like there are parts of the story that I feel like are so like they reference the earlier movies, if that makes sense. Like, yeah, it doesn't work as well in reverse. They're more fan service for watching the original rather than being like, oh, if you knew that going into watching The New Hope, that would give you some more perspective. Nah, they're more like fan service if you've already seen the prequels. Yeah, like what like the clones, like watching like the like Boba Fett, like in this, like his Slave One, like fly up or whatever on whatever planet that was. It's like that is super cool if you know the ship, if you recognize that spaceship.
You're saying but
from
if you
the Mandalorian? No, I'm saying from in the prequels. There's a scene where Owen is on a rain planet. I don't remember the name of it, but it's the clone facility. It's like where they're like making the clones, and Jango Fett is there, and then you meet like young Boba Fett as well. Not again, spoilers, sorry. But man, throwing him out there. But they go outside. But they go where they go outside and the Slave One. I'll tip my tongue. That's cool, but only if like you recognize it. It's just like kind of story otherwise. It's extra cool if you have the context.
Yeah, there's an enormous reveal in episode 5 that really you shouldn't learn from episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
I'm very much a 4, 5, 6 guy. But then I think, maybe in the order that I like them. I'm having a hard time to tell. There you go. I'm having a hard time telling anybody to watch the prequels ever. Right. I thought you can stop at Revenge of the Sith and just not watch The Phantom Menace or Attack of the Clones and be fine.
Yeah, I think so. Ditto. Yeah, I think so.
Revenge of the Sith you could not watch Solo too, as far as I'm concerned. Like,
not to be the constant defender of the prequels for the sake of this call, but there is one scene that I remember really liking as a kid.
This is a show.
For this show. There is one scene that I really, really liked from the movie when I was a kid, and that was the scene where they're all like chained up to the posts and like the monsters come out, like they do like monster fight with the crazy like.
As a kid, that pod race was sweet. Don't get me wrong; they all had their moments, man.
Sure. Yeah,
the pod race was awesome.
Yeah, anytime Jar Jar wasn't on, screen.
Yeah.
Was a better portion of the movie than the portions of the movie where it was on screen.
Yeah, true.
I don't subscribe to, man, those are objectively good movies. You just don't like them because you love Star Wars. I'm like, no, they're not.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, there's not, because if the dialogue was good, the thing is too is that the CGI, I can deal with bad CGI, like for because especially stuff that doesn't hold up, like over time stuff will look worse, but if you're gonna there's a scene where they're sitting, it's Padme and Anakin, not to spoil more stuff again, spoilers on this whole episode. There's a there's a scene where he lifts a pear to her, and then she cuts into it and eats it, and it's a fake pear.
Yeah.
And
it
looks
really,
so bad.
really bad.
Yeah, I know that
really bad.
Well, it's like a piece of Play-Doh. It is horrendous.
Yeah, and if it wasn't so integral to the plot that he do that,
sure,
I might.
Yeah, right? Exactly. It's like, if you have to do bad CGI, at least make it important. You could put a string through a pear and just move it above.
And you know what? It would look more real, and it would take less time to take the string out of the damn shot than it did to animate that stupid pear.
Right, just think about how expensive that shot was, and you're like, oh my god.
Yeah, and the thing too is she tongues the pear. She goes that's how she bites it.
Well, now that's not
pulls a piece of it off like this.
And I know with that kind of stuff, you see the dailies and stuff, and you're shooting it a certain way, and you don't see the pear, right? So you're way down the path before you see the pear. But I think when you finally see that pear, you go, that goes back to the artboard, That doesn't look like.
Just do that scene with a pear. Just float the pear.
Yeah.
We did practical effects for the whole first 6 movies. It's not hard to do, Well, I mean, it is hard to do, but it's not hard to replicate the things you've already done. You know what I mean? Yeah. If you already have proved you can do it, why are we wasting time with this?
There's plenty of folks out there who are very talented in doing practical effects. They all still exist, and you can pay them money and they'll do that.
And we know they exist because stuff like The Mandalorian comes out. Yeah. Where it's there's a ton of practical effects in that show, and it's awesome. That show is dope. Yeah. It's top down, really good. Feels like Star Wars.
Yeah. I don't even know where I'd put it.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah, somewhere around where Rogue One is for me. I
mean, somewhere in that
Mandalorian
area.
and Rogue One are my two favorite Star Wars anything to come out in the last, since Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, me too.
Honestly, Rogue One and a Mandalorian are the best things out of Star Wars since Return of the Jedi, I think.
I have been just blown away by Mandalorian. It's just how much Star Wars it feels like Star Wars. It plays like Star Wars, way better than any of the three most recent movies. The threequel, whatever they call it, Force Awakens, Rise of the Jedi, and
Force Awakens, Jedi, and Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, there you go.
Pretends to be a big fan of Star Wars.
Yeah, right.
Doesn't know the names of the movies.
You had asked me before the show about Qui-Gon, and I did put together.
Oh yeah, let's find your. Let's name 5 things. 5 things you like about Qui-Gon Jinn. Go.
All right, 5 things I love about Qui-Gon Jinn. First of all, these are in no particular order. But Qui-Gon was a maverick. What? I didn't know it was on the clock.
Yeah,
he's a maverick Jedi Master. He rejected his seat on the council because that's a boss move. He trained Obi-Wan. He took on Darth Maul, and he's played by Liam Neeson.
Yeah, he's got a dope beard.
Yeah, I think number 1 is definitely that he's played by Liam Neeson.
Right.
Yeah, he lost to Darth Maul. So, spoilers.
Yeah, but he fought him. But I like to mention that he refused a seat on the Jedi Council. I enjoy that about Qui-Gon's actual character.
Yeah. They tried to make this either or sort of concept in that time in the filmmaking. From my perspective, the Jedi are. You know what I mean? And that whole both sides of the argument thing has really come back to bite us. I blame George Lucas for the politics of the right today.
Politics of the right today.
You're not listening to both sides of the argument. It's like, one side is for good and one side is for bad. Yeah, but from my perspective, slaughtering innocent children is good.
This is good.
Change my mind.
The younglings.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
Master Skywalker.
There are people that do I don't know if you're familiar with some things called fan cams, but they're basically like cuts of
Upskirts?
actors to music. No. there are cuts of actors to music, basically, where it's like, like dance music and then like cutting through pictures where it's like, oh, I love this actor, basically. And someone did a Hayden Christensen fan cam, basically, where they were like, character that I love, or it's Anakin Skywalker specifically, clips from the movie. And someone was like, I mean, I can kill a bunch of kids if that's what
that's what turns you on. If that's
I can
what
do that too.
Does it for you? Murdering children?
Who goes Hayden Christian? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The guy's a bad actor.
Yeah. I mean, you can watch him in other stuff. So it's not just the director. It's not just the dialogue, both of which feel like, they were a college project. But it's also him because you can see him in other stuff. So
yeah.
I'll say this: I've yet to be impressed by him. Really, if anybody finds anything that they think he's really genuinely good in, let us know.
Yeah,
I'll watch
let us know.
Yeah,
I will watch it.
He's been in some movies that I was entertained by. Like I like Jumper. It's kind of
I was gonna say
not great film.
Don't send me movies. Yeah, don't send me movies that are just fun movies. I mean, like when he did a good job.
Right?
Specifically him.
Like Jumper's fine. But
that's a good background movie. You can throw that one on and just like do other things. Don't sit and watch it. Not sit and
watch it though.
Yeah.
That's not a sit and watch movie. That's
you put it on and do your taxes. Or
that is a good example, right? And it makes your taxes not feel so bad.
Because you just look up, it could be worse.
Yeah, it could be worse. I could be Hayden Christensen. I'm sure he's done fine for himself.
Yeah, maybe he's a liberal white dude. Maybe we should have him on the show. Hayden Christensen. After bagging on him.
Maybe too soon. You might be an open invitation. Sorry, Hayden.
Yeah, unless you're a dick.
Unless you suck. Yeah, if you suck, then we do not apologize.
We spent a half an hour just bagging on the only thing the guy's done in his life.
This is a conditional.
They're like, hey, you want to come hang out? Tough crap.
Yeah, if anybody knows him, reach out to him.
Yeah, conditional apology depending on whether or not you suck. If you suck, none from us.
Yeah,
right. Yes,
it is kind of funny that none of us know, like whether or not he's on Twitter or whether or not he's anywhere. It's like, no.
I haven't looked into it.
No idea.
I haven't looked into it. But to be fair, I haven't looked into like Liam Neeson either, and I do think he's pretty cool. So my awareness of people on the internet is kind of minimal.
I just wonder if you just go to Liam Neeson's Twitter and it's just like, "Where's my daughter?" And you're like, "Dude, really?" Every post.
Good luck. It's just like a bunch of fans tweeting "good luck" at him. It's like millions every time he posts. It's like this millions of replies of "good luck." He's like,
I was only able to find a Hayden Christensen Stan account, so he's not really on Twitter.
Yeah, it's not surprising. When you have a very vocal group of assholes who don't like you, which there's a very vocal group of assholes who like Star Wars. We've seen them come out.
Nerd culture.
Yeah, it's the thing with most nerd culture. You have a very vocal group of assholes. We saw them really, really come out over The Last Jedi. Whatever.
Well, all the Force Awakens. I mean, as soon as Daisy Ridley was the primary focus of a movie, they were out, and then as soon as they gave,
and there's some nuance to some of the feelings that they were feeling, and the way that but they came about it from a misogynistic or sexist or in some cases racist way. Like there can't be a black stormtrooper, and it's like, there can be though. That's a dumb
what do you mean? That's what a dumb thing to say.
Yeah, there can't be a female Jedi, and it's like there's been plenty of female Jedi. She's not the first one of those. First off,
no,
or that even wielded a lightsaber. So there are criticisms to be had about how some of those characters were handled from a liberal or progressive standpoint, but those aren't it. You've missed the mark entirely.
It's not she's a woman. Like that's not
right.
That's not.
And then trying to veil your misogyny or your racism as you're just a true fan is a disservice to true fans who are like, I have beef with Force Awakens. And not because women are in it.
Yeah.
That's not why.
So
I started to watch Last Jedi and I was like, female mechanic? Wow, we're really in a galaxy far, far away, am I right? Look at her with her tools. They're not even pink. Yeah.
It's just a weird place to come from.
That's their
completely.
That's their bag.
Yeah, I think there's some valid, and I don't know. I guess I feel like the three of us are not necessarily in agreement on some of my criticisms in regards to the progressivism of the newer Star Wars movies, such as, like they're whatever it was that is gained by the people were saying basically it doesn't take anything away from you if they kill off your favorite characters and they replace them with people that don't look like you. And I was like, but it does though. That's my return response to that critique. That whatever it is that you are gaining from someone that looks like you being the person who is the protagonist is whatever it is that I'm losing. That's not zero. And I'm not saying it can't be that way or isn't that way, or this isn't just a different story inside of what is a universe, right? I mean, the Star Wars universe, there's like aliens walking around.
Yeah, exactly.
Hammerhead. Like, I would love to see a movie just focused on his people. There would be no one that looked like folks. Me, just presumably. Yeah, just Hammerhead. I'm going to be Hammerhead for Halloween because I've said it so many times just now.
All right. Hammerhead. We should all three be obscure races from Star Wars.
Yeah.
Walrus person.
Is he that obscure? I don't know. He was like one of the first, and again, this is a generational thing, but he was like one of the first action figures. So like if you had not the ones that everybody was seeking, like Luke and Leia and actual popular characters, you got the ones that were still left at Kmart. You had Hammerhead. Right. You had Bosk, the bounty hunter.
Yeah.
There's like this.
I always my favorite action figure other than Han Solo, honestly, was Admiral Akbar.
Nice.
Mon Calamari. Love that action figure.
I got that one with the shipping away the proofs of purchase. There was a time when he was not in the main line of Star Wars action figures. You had to ship away your proofs of purchase. And then when it came back around, you were like, oh yeah. Because that's how the mail used to work. 4 months later, you'd be like, especially as a kid, you lost interest.
I ordered something.
Mailed it. Yeah. You're like, what is this and why is it for me? Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, you fill out the form and it's like return in 7 to 9 weeks.
Yeah.
And you're like,
business.
To a kid, that's an eternity.
Weeks.
Like,
that's. Yeah, but I got all of those. Like there was a mail away for the Emperor, which then became one, and the mail away for the ghost guy who gets replaced by Hayden Christenson.
How fucked up was that?
Yeah, that's messed up.
It's real messed up.
We could do a whole episode on how they destroyed the original trilogy just by going back and effing with it. That's a whole episode by itself.
The goddamn edits. I mean,
those are unspeakable tragedies. Those
thankfully own regular copies of the movie, and it's not even so much just being a purist, which I am. I'm glad. I think I have E.T. with the guns. As opposed to walkie-talkies.
E.T. with the guns.
Because part of it is like that was the movie. Like, what are you doing? That was the movie. I get it if you had like, racist characters or entire scenes. Like when they clip up a Christmas Story for TV and they decide to leave out the dinner at the Asian restaurant at the end. I'm like, that's fine. That's culturally insensitive.
That could have been left out.
Yeah, that's fine, right? So if you're doing stuff like that, okay. But if you're like just completely ruining Sly Snoodles in the whatever band, in Jabba's Palace. If you're just gonna go in and cut that up and ruin it, what are you doing? I love the original, lady with her big bouncing orb and lips sticking out here and whatever the hell she was doing. That was great.
And all the Jabba stuff, all the Jabba edits. Oh my god.
Yeah, and like there were scenes like where they put CGI like characters, like the sand troopers who were riding on the back of like I don't remember what these things are called, but they were riding on the back of dewbacks or something. Yep. Yeah. And like they're just like walking in front of the frame, like just large dewback body across the front of the screen that's obviously animated. Yeah. I'm like, what is this for?
I always give props to Family Guy for doing a great job making a joke about that in their Star Wars specials. They would occasionally have like a sock puppet pop up.
Yes.
It's like, oh, hey guys.
Hey, what's going on? Yeah, they killed it. Yep. As far as that goes. Where would the Family Guy, Blue Harvest, and those fall in your list of Star Wars movies if we were to include them?
I would rather watch any of those before any of the prequels or threequels. So they fall somewhere on that list.
Maybe under Rogue One and Mandalorian.
Under Rogue One, under Mandalorian, absolutely.
Yeah. But still on that list.
Yeah, I think there. Still above the prequels and the still better.
Yeah. It can be argued more faithful.
To the source material. Yeah.
To the source material.
Yeah. More realistic, certainly, than Attack of the Clones.
Honestly. Yeah, definitely. More believable.
More believable Tauntaun in the second Family Guy movie.
I don't want to forget before we go today, Nabisco is owned by Mondelez International out of Chicago.
Mondelez International. Never heard of it.
Multinational confectionery food company.
All right. Well, we're just going to have to buy big before we start pushing Fig Newtons on this show, I guess.
Yeah, right.
You heard it here first, folks. This is your insider stock trip. 2 years from now,
advisors.
I am not a financial advisor. I do not give financial advice. But if they are a publicly traded company and they have stock available for sale,
we're gonna buy some.
I didn't say that. He did.
I didn't say that.
SEC. This guy.
Yeah, here we go. Here. Bringing the hammer down.
So if my hand came into frame, that would freak both of us out.
It would.
Imagine if our show was big enough for me to get rated by them just for this conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
That's gonna happen. 2 years.
Yeah, now it's gonna happen.
Come seize my little laptop here.
All right, guys. That's how we feel about friggin' Star Wars. Feel free to tell us how we've gotten it wrong.
5 figs.
This many figs.
Yeah,
this
5
figs
figs
for
the Star Wars universe. 6
Absolutely.
for the figurines and the toys. 7 for being a huge part of the childhood.
Take the good with the bad with Star Wars. Guys.
Yeah. I would say, apologies to AOC, but she's probably still going on her thing. So, you know what?
Yeah.
I think so.
We're going to take that personally.
No apologies.
Chip on the shoulder from here on out.
Yeah.
We are here.
Beef over turf?
Beefing over turf, AOC.
No.
There was this time where we had our show, and then she was also having a show, and it was super rude because our entire audience was watching her. And this is how I talk now.
Especially during beefing over turf.
I don't want to beef with her over. I don't want to beef with her over anything else.
Yeah, no, policy we're good. Beefing with Ted Cruz today on Twitter. Fantastic.
Dude,
3 thumbs up for that.
That was intense. Yeah.
I mean, these are, representatives of our government. Like, what?
Oh, yeah.
Gnarly,
it's
isn't
really,
it?
It's out of control at this point. Yeah, somebody needs to figure it out. We are here.
What a good
Tuesday.
time to have a show like this.
Yeah, I agree.
To live in this timeline. I mean, this is ridiculous.
Yeah. There's so much just
as a
nuts.
Sidebar. What's happening right now? I mean, just go on Twitter and see what's happening right now.
There are so many times where people are just like, this is unprecedented. I am totally numb to the word. And I think most of America is too. They're just like, whatever, unprecedented. It's like, no, this is the first time that this has ever happened. And they're like, Tuesday.
Congresswoman calling out senator for trying to have her killed on Twitter. Okay, move along.
Yeah.
It's like,
they're like, and in their defense, just yesterday or the day before, the news broke that Green Margarine from Georgia said that she wanted Democrat folks assassanated. She just said that. She had posts that said it and stuff. So it's like they're like,
but she holds office still.
She sure does.
Allowed apparently.
Because that's totally cool.
Have I mentioned that we have a live show here every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 6 p.m. Pacific time? Freaking Star Wars, everybody.
Yeah.
Have a good night.